Hello, students. Welcome to my vlog. So, for this topic, we will be discussing about one of the most important components or subjects within NSTP 2, which is the community immersion. So a community immersion is um, the very thing that we will be doing in STP2 minus the pandemic. So since we are under pandemic, so we really need to solidify our theories and our discussions on community immersion because it is quite improbable for us to really conduct community immersion knowing that we cannot afford to risk all your safety and health in general, allowing you to go to the community and immerse yourselves there. Although you are all aware of the proper protocol, but prevention is better than cure. So let us now proceed to the main topic of this discussion. Without so much further ado, let's start with the introduction or introductory part of this topic. So one of the strategies of community organizing is community immersion. So technically, it involves extensive exposure of the students to various community activities so that they may become responsible members of society where they belong. The students also trained to becoming socially, morally, civic consciousness individuals on the areas of sports, literacy, health, livelihood, environmental services, values, and other social welfare services. So, as we all know that one of the objectives and goals of NSTP is to really make a responsible and useful citizens in society. So this is a very important um, competencies or learning that we need to learn from the subject so that we will become useful and, of course, effective citizens in our society in general. So what are the things that students should learn from these activities that we are um, talking about, particularly in community immersion? So the first thing is to determine the economic, psychological, and political status of the people. So in determining the economic, particularly the financial capacity, their psychological or state of mind, um, their ability to um, react to help and aid from the students, because sometimes when you immerse the community, there are communities which are really needy. They are in dire need of the help, and they will always think that when you propose or offer and help, they will think that everything about their problems, you are the solutions of their problems. I mean, um, they are expecting that you will really help them in such a way that they will feel comfortable about their lives. Although not all, but there are really certain communities which I immersed myself, and I have found out that psychologically speaking, they are too dependent um, to other people in making solutions about themselves, especially those who are really living in extensive poverty. So their mentality is um, it's their fate, it's their destiny. So if someone will help them, you will be the superior to them, and you will also feel that the heaviness of the responsibility on your shoulder. But of course, the goal of the community immersion is not to feel you um, useless whenever you realize how big or huge the problems or the needs of the community, and you will realize that, oh, I am very incapable of solving the problems of this community. Of course, that is not the goal. The goal is for you to be very clear about your goals in immersing yourselves to the community. So, one of the things that you will always think is you know your limits, you know your purpose in the community, and you know when to say yes and no also. And of course, admit and recognize our limitations when it comes to community immersion. Second is identifying community needs, interests, and other concerns. So, um, in identifying needs, interests, and other concerns, it doesn't mean that you have to solve all their needs, all their concerns, but it is for you to assess what are the things that you can help to at least um, elevate their conditions. But technically, you are not obliged to really become a superhero, to solve everything, to provide everything. Of course, you will only identify as to what your capacity is capable of helping the community in general. The third one is gaining personal development through acquiring additional knowledge in real life situation and giving importance to good values and life skills. So of course, when you immerse the community, you have to be very sensitive. You have to be sociable as well as you have to be very open-minded because there are a lot of things that the community and these people will really teach you as a person. And I'm pretty sure that after you conduct your immersion in the near future, whether in the subject or in your organization where you belong, um, you will really realize that community immersion is another experience that everyone should um, engage with if they really want personal development. Okay, the fourth one is recognizing people's dignity by letting the students participate in community programs. So every person, regardless of your economic and political statuses, you are entitled and you possess human dignity. And we need to respect that. And the students should participate in community programs because through that, it's one way of showing the people's dignity in a certain community that you chose to immerse with. Because if you are participative and if you are showing interest to the community programs and to the culture of these people, it's a direct way of telling them that you like them and they will also like you back and they're building connections between you and the community. And fifth one is realizing the students' participation yields contribution of the welfare of the community. So that is one of the things that you will be learning from this activity. Okay, so in service learning from community immersion, you have you will have the opportunity for the students to appreciate other people's lives through living, identifying, and associating with people. So in immersion, you will be involving these activities like living with the community. You will be identifying certain needs and concerns of the community, and you associate with them. So this is also what we call participative activities because you will really participate and from the word itself immersion you will really immerse yourselves to this community and technically you will be gaining social acceptance derived from community relations coupled with appropriate community services and activities. And do not forget that it will also enhance experiences in conducting resources and community inventory mapping, such as identifying geographic coverage, pointing our resources and their uses, and determining relationships of people with the existing resources. So again, it's very important that before you immerse yourself to the community, you are perfectly prepared. Everything is planned, well planned, everything should be set before you emerge so that you will be able to prepare for the logistics and for those unexpected events that may take place during the immersion. So that's one of the things that you really need to prepare also as a volunteer or as part of the immersion team. Next is to establish rapport and relationship with different people who may be of help to them at some future time. So establishing rapport or good relationship, empathy, and including sympathy to those people is one way of connecting on building relationship with the people in the community and develop conscience that makes them realize how their ability to help solve problem in community and how indifference of people affects communities. So part of the goal in immersion is to encourage and influence the members of the community to empower themselves and to start believing themselves that they are the very solutions of their own problems. So that's the thing that you really need to teach them. And of course, teaching them the value if people are indifferent, if nobody will care and nobody will really um, focus on solving the problem that they are experiencing, then solutions will never be attainable and possible to them. So that's part also of our goals and our impact to the community. Because sometimes our role, even if we are working in a limited resources, still our influence and our input will serve as light and guide to these people. You will also acquiring first-hand experiences in dealing with community intervention and services. So what is it in you if you acquire first-hand experiences in dealing with community intervention and services? You could use this one in the near future in your employment or in your business and other endeavors that you intend to do in the near future after you graduate. So there are a lot of things that you could apply in your real life situations that you could learn from community immersions. You will also have the chance to learn life skills that will enrich and better them as persons. So not only to yourselves, but also to the people in the community. So there is a reciprocity on the part of the community and on the part of yourself as a volunteer and your team. All you need to do is to keep your mind open and also your heart so that you will be able to appreciate fully the activity and the advantages that it will bring to you as a person in the future. Now, let's proceed to the community development work, which is the process of which efforts of people at the grassroots level are united with those of the government to improve the social, economic, and cultural conditions of the community. So you will be linkaging or you will be linking the the grassroots level or those poor people to the programs of the government because sometimes there are programs of the government but it cannot reach to the grassroots level, so you will serve as a bridge in order for the this poor people or this underprivileged people to access to the basic services of the government and also for the government to be much aware that this community really need this basic services of the government. Okay. And the community development works operate in two models. First refers to the effort of the that develop from within the community and are led by community members. So that's within the community. So there is already an initiative by the community members. And the second one refers to the effort that instigated and run by professionals from outside the community. So in our subject, we are more of the second model, gearing to the first level. So um, we enter there under the second model, but we will end that first model will be used. So we will encourage them to initiate programs for themselves. So that's why we may be outsiders, but we will be leaving the community under first model. That's a very noble. So what are the approaches in community development work? So this requires the efforts of the people in greater or larger area degrees. So community-based work involves community but a small scale from what is essential in community work. So you have to take note of that. So community development approaches are defined by the following. First, the sustainability, whether long or short term. The second one is area of concentration, whether local, national, global, and overseas. The third one is field of specialization. And of course, you have to always give emphasis to your objectives, your missions, including your. So there are different approaches in community development work, such as technical assistance approach, self-help approach, and con approach. So first, let's tackle technical assistance approach. So efficient delivery of improving programs or services is what the technical assistance approach is more concerned of, while the self-help approach encourages the community to work together. So it promotes unity and coordination among the members of the community. And the third one is the con approach, which is confronting forces that are blocking the efforts of solving problems. So you will be identifying what are the barriers of, or what are the factors that hinder or block the efforts in solving problems. So you try to eliminate, identify them and eliminate one by one so that problems will be solved in the absence of those factors that limit the solutions of the problem. The fourth one is the structural brick and mortar approach, which is concerned with the foundation of the community in terms of constitution. So you under structural brick and mortar approach, you really need to solidify the foundation of the community by giving them and teaching them to trust each other, to become faithful to each other, and to always believe on themselves. While social justice and human rights approach focuses on behavioral, cultural, and including ethnical and social affairs. So, most cases, the problems that are being focused under this approach are injustices on the part of the poor people or the urban poor or the farmers, etc. While in the ecological or environmental approach, this targets crisis as major focal point in the environment or in the ecology in general. So, indigenous peoples, for instance, are the guardians or the stewards of our mountains and our forests. So there are also bad elements or people who are inconsiderate and they try to do illegal loggings, and these activities will really hurt and will really detriment our people when Mother Earth will really make its revenge to us. So just like what happened to Cagayan de Oro City, during a typhoon, wherein there are, I think, thousands of people who died because of the flood and the landslides that had happened a few years back. And multi-method approach, which combines methods that will ensure progress and success. So the community development project is the term applied to any community-based project that covers a wide variety of different areas within the community or group of networking entities. So project covers almost anything, including the most obvious section of concern to any community, so the welfare element. So a community development project is what an organization, whether non-governmental, governmental, or those volunteers in general are doing. So they considered it as a community development project because there are things that they want to improve and develop. So they will focus it on and they will pour the resources until such time that they will be able to see the results, the positive results of that particular cause. So the welfare community project is the term applied to any community-based project that covers a wide variety of different areas within a community of group of networking entities. So as previously explained, the welfare community project is very novel, and we have also the economic community project are designed to create some sort of economic autonomy. So you will be teaching the people in the community how to build business or how to make products that will generate revenues and profits on their part. So yes, if you try to compare welfare and economic community project focuses on economic empowerment of the people, while welfare community is quite broad because it aims the entire or the holistic aspect of human beings. So when it comes to community building, it is directed towards the creation of community composed of individuals within an area or with a common interest. So part of our community immersion is to make these people realize that they are stronger when they are united. So this is the goal of community immersion to build community. While people are sensitive with each other, they have this mentality that my action could also affect others, and the mentality also that if we will work together, we will be able to build great things. So this is the very beautiful part of community immersion, the community building. So in community building, there are practices that we need to emphasize with. First, the community gardening helps improve neighborhood building a sense of community and connect to the environment by planting and harvesting fresh produce and plants. So part of the activities and practices in community building is to create common gardens of the community wherein people will plant together and they will also get their basic food from that garden, or they could sell in order to generate profits and revenues. So community technology centers also may help bridge the digital divide among generations. So digital divide, which primarily refers to the division of those people who are economically inclined, those who could afford to buy technology and fast internet connection, while those people who cannot even have a cell phone or mobile phone. So through community technology, there will be a declining of the disparity between the have-nots and the haves. So this is what community building practices also is guaranteed under community. Sharing of skills or knowledge in music, dance, craftsmanship, mechanics, and the like provides excellent opportunities for community building and including appreciation of their culture in general. And of course, it could also improve the economic status since it could also generate profits and revenues if they will use it in a better way. And social activism also involves the banding of communities taking action to produce social change. So, let's say, for example, a community wherein um, they're actually victim of environmental discrimination, such as mining areas, and the weights of that mining areas are actually um, directed to the community so they could do social activism, fight for their rights, and pressure the government to at least act in behalf of them in order to combat the abusive owner of the mining company. And so this is one of the best practices that we need to appreciate under community immersion, particularly in community building. And lastly, community organizing refers to the gathering of people to solve problems, and community immersion is one of the strategies under community organizing. So that is the one of the meats of our discussion to really encourage everyone to realize themselves that they are, again, the very solutions of their problems. And thus, community organizing will exist if people will realize that. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you have learned something from this discussion. Thank you, keep safe, and God bless us all.